Hello everyone and welcome to another Blunderbuss Reviews. Today's subject was going to be Metroid for the NES, but I had a bit of trouble writing it really, and it's not really Star Foxy enough, so I've decided to kind of put that on the back burner for now and look at this manga that came out before Star Fox Adventures that would kind of bridge the story between that game and Star Fox 64 and kind of like explain why Falco isn't in it. So sit back and relax as I review Farewell Beloved Falco. Now it's going to be a little different reviewing this because I only have a select few images to show, and so I'm going to be focusing mainly on what I think the comic does well. Unfortunately, this will make the review seem more like a lot of bullet points rather than a journey, but this comes with reviewing the media that I am. Now since it's the first thing you notice when you read a comic book, I'll start with how I feel about the art style. I think this art style really suits the series and works with both the simple dialogue panels and also the bigger action orientated ones. To conclude, if there was a Star Fox comic officially commissioned by Nintendo, which I'd totally be down for, then I'd like it in an art style very similar to this because I think it's really good. Now let's move on to the plot, which is going to be, I'll try and explain it more like a broad synopsis rather than going from panel to panel. 4 years after the events of Star Fox 64, the Star Fox team, due to a lack of work, are suffering both from boredom and poverty. The Great Fox has begun to fall into a state of disrepair, and even Slippy is having trouble keeping up with the repairs. During a training session between Fox and Falco and R-Wing piloting via GBC handheld simulators, the Star Fox team receives an SOS transmission from Cat Monroe regarding her being attacked by an unseen assailant, to which Falco hastily leaves the Great Fox to answer despite the protests of his team. After rescuing Cat, Falco is reintroduced to his old ragtag team of roughnecks, the Hot Rodders. Afterwards, the Star Fox team, searching for the currently missing Falco, arrive at Titania, where they land at one of the research bases established after the Lilac Wars to research ancient planetary history. Upon completing docking clearances, the base's commander, Captain Shears, introduces himself. Fun fact, Shears' design is actually a reference to a cut character from Star Fox 2. Upon learning of the Star Fox team's situation, he agrees to help them find Falco, although under one condition. They retrieve some of Andross's research that was allegedly stolen by remnants of the Venomian army. Fox then attacks a nearby mothership which, unknown to him, is Falco and the Hot Rodders. This ends up in a sparring match between him and Falco, thus giving Falco more of a reason to leave Star Fox. Eventually the two teams come to terms with each other and the Hot Rodders upload the data they traced. It is revealed to Star Fox that Shears is indeed evil and actually taking part in an experiment to resurrect Andross. Fox storms in to stop the resurrection plan once and for all, but in the process Slippy is captured by Gorus after he was sent alone to check out the base in a Landmaster. At this point Slippy starts to reminisce about his previous visit to this planet when he was captured by a Gorus. However, this doesn't make sense because you cannot possibly get the canon ending once you get to Titania. So fuck you Nintendo for allowing me to point out your very light mistakes. Oh, I'm so alone. Falco and the Hot Rodders storm the base while Fox searches for Slippy, but Gorus returns to battle with the gang. Fox, under Peppy's guidance via transceiver, locates Slippy's cell, although he inadvertently gets spotted by some of the guards, forcing him to locate Slippy and run away from them. After finding Slippy, they duck into a room to elude the guards and steal themselves in. Unfortunately, it turns out the room was actually Andross's cloning chamber. As Fox and Shears battle, Slippy attempts to halt the rejuvenation process. Andross then briefly asks who Slippy is, causing Slippy to think he hasn't fully regained his memories yet. However, the clone sees Fox and remembers who he is. As a side note, there's a nice little reference to Andross's Super Nintendo appearance. Andross, having regained memories of his death, declares his hatred of Fox in such a way that he destroys his containment tank, drenching Slippy in culture fluid, who then attempts to warn Fox. Shears then attempts to escape on his steed, only to end up crushed by Andross. Andross then attempts to inhale Fox upon declaring his intention of killing him. Fox then proceeds to throw his rapier into Andross's left eye, destroying it and briefly disorientating him. Slippy and Fox then discover the impounded Landmaster. Left with no other option, Fox fires a supernova bomb at Andross just as Andross sees them, destroying the base and nearly themselves in the process. Falco contacts Fox and tells him that he's retiring for a while, and tells Fox to tell Cat to retire from the Hot Rodders and do some lawfulness for a change. After Fox tells Cat Falco's final transmission, Cat thanks him. 4 years later, Slippy and Fox are doing a training session on GBA handhelds, which Slippy designed, only for Fox to beat Slippy again, causing Fox to state in a bored tone that he's not really a good rival and not understanding how Slippy can lose a game he designed. Peppy walks in telling the two to stop playing games and get some work done, but Slippy reminds him there is no work, causing Peppy to insist that if there is no work around then he should make some. Fox then asks if they have any requests. Rob mentions that they have none, save for the case of Sauria breaking apart. However, just as Rob explains what is going on, he short-circuits, necessitating Slippy to fix him. Peppy asks Fox what he plans to do about it, then he declares that they will save Sauria. This is another continuity error since the manga ends with the Star Fox team seeing Dinosaur Planet breaking apart and deciding to save it on their own accord. Whereas Star Fox Adventures opens with General Pepper ordering them to go there and save it, promising to pay them if they succeed. How dare you, Nintendo? How fucking dare you? However, it could be equally suggested that they could have filed in a request to General Pepper to try and save the planet due to the General mentioning that their fee has been approved. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt this time, Nintendo. But if in Star Fox Zero, Star Fox's voice is different, we'll speak again. So as stories go, it's okay. Nothing groundbreaking, but it fills in some of Falco's backstory and shows us some of his and Fox's relationship, so that's pretty neat. However, I'm really not a fan of how Andros is brought back here. Shears would honestly have been fine as a simple villain for this. I feel like Andros was brought back just for status quo, honestly. He doesn't really add anything to the story. His design is great here though. He does look incredibly menacing, so at least there's that. As for how it bridges the gap between these two games, I quite like it. Don't get me wrong, it exists purely to bridge them, but I like that it told its own story and then organically transitioned to where Adventure starts. I'd like to see some of the years they skipped, but it did its job and it did it well. So in conclusion, if you do like Star Fox, it's probably worth your while to check this comic out. And, you know, if you don't, you know, check it out anyway. It has some nice artwork and it has a nice simple story. So that's all for this week of Blunderbuss Reviews. I'll see you another time with another review.
I feel free. 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 I feel free.